Hello, and thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. My name is Spencer Crume, and I'm going to be going over the Best Buy turnaround strategy for a class here at Full Sail University for the Business Intelligence Leadership and Communications class with Dr. Vicki Bealman. We're going to go over the Best Buy background, a little bit about the company, who they are, followed by an executive summary, an overarching challenge that was faced during this time period by them, the perceived obstacles that the company faced as well, and then we'll also look at some small steps, small wins opportunities, take a look at that methodology, and then we'll wrap it up with a conclusion right there at the end. First off, we'll start with a little bit of the background. So Best Buy is a nationwide electronics retailer that is comprised of a few different aspects of business. Of course, there's Best Buy proper, which is the stores that I'm sure we've all been in, taken a look at, seen, purchased products from. Inside there, they also have the Geek Squad, which is their in-home installation and service division, and then of course their high-end, more specialty products, Magnolia Home Theater, in select markets. Some of the main competitors of Best Buy in the consumer electronics space are Micro Center and Amazon, even Walmart for certain products. Best Buy does rank as the #2 overall consumer electronics retailer, just behind Amazon. Best Buy has been able to adapt over the years to the changing landscape by offering more in the way of online sales and also moving into the service business, offering a full mobile solutions division to where the individual can go in and purchase everything from their cell phone contracts with the major carriers all the way up through full complete home theater systems, and even they've moved into home appliance and automation as well. So when you're looking at the way a company needs to adjust in order to remain competitive, they have to be able to serve both customers and investors. Now the difficult part is that the items that serve customers and investors are not always aligned. Sometimes they're very different. For instance, profit increasing initiatives are typically favorable for investors because they increase the profit margins and therefore investors see their investment grow as well. However, those things are not always conducive to happy customers. Maybe it takes closing a location because it's not very profitable, which then increases overall net operating profits because of the decrease in net operating expenses. But the customers that did patronize the business in that particular market are now no longer served, and therefore they would not be satisfied, and this could create some sort of public backlash and potential reputational damage. If we look back to around 2012, Best Buy was faced with some pretty severe challenges as they were losing some market share and also potentially being faced with bankruptcy, which of course this required the necessitation of a turnaround strategy. The sections to follow are going to cover the overarching challenge, just to give it an idea of what the main objective that pushed for the turnaround strategy, perceived obstacles that stood in the way of the company and how to overcome those, and then also take a look at the idea of small steps and small wins, how to take those larger problems and break them up into smaller pieces that are both more digestible and also more attainable. The overarching challenge faced by Best Buy was that of increasing revenue while improving the customer experience and increasing shareholder value. What you notice here is that the efficiency of Best Buy's business model, while being very traditional in the retail space, was not quite as effective as it needed to be because they were both losing market share due to lack of competition with online resources, plus the overall um, invested capital that was tied up in physical locations and leases and product inventory that wasn't moving, tapped out or I should say capped out at 15.6 billion, with only 1.2 billion in free cash. This was one of those points that made it very clear that they needed to make some true operational and fiscal changes in order to address the challenges that it was being faced with. Simply put, investors want to see stable performance from a company that's not over leveraged to ensure that their investment will continue to perform in the future. As we see here over the time, we have the last fiscal year all the way to the right, and then last fiscal year -1, so 1 year back, then -2, 3, and 4. And what we've noticed about this here is you look at the dark blue line. This is the Best Buy's invested capital turn. So this is basically how efficiently they are using the capital that's invested on a return basis. As Best Buy climbed the peer group average, so the grouping of their competitors, the average of their returns was falling. So Best Buy found a way to implement real change through strategic, asset sales, whether it be closing of certain, business, certain, locations, or simply becoming more competitive in the online space, or even potentially strategic partnerships, which we'll take a look at a little bit later. The perceived obstacles that Best Buy experience had to do with customer experience and how to improve that without increasing costs, leadership's ability to energize employees because you need a good workforce and a good leadership team, and then vendor relationships. Also societal impact as we move into more impact related investing and the public as a whole being more cognizant of the changes in the world, the societal impacts of a business's decisions is equally as important to many. So starting off with customer experience, one of the big hurdles here was knowledgeable employees. Being able to have a workforce that can cater to customers' needs to weed through the technology and see how this technology can improve their lives and how it could better serve them. Product selection is also very important, and it was a hurdle because Best Buy needs to have the products that customers are looking for without having so much capital tied up in just a few product SKUs that maybe don't sell as well. They have to make sure that they have enough of a varying product range to cater to those who are looking for just something that is inexpensive and gets the job done, all the way up through the really more high-end and specialty products. Also with competitive pricing. According to Trainer, the intelligent management enables this brick and mortar retailer to compete on price. So Best Buy, while they couldn't compete with Amazon in sheer size, what they did is they looked for strategic ways to cut costs so that way they could have a competitive price matching system in order to compete with the likes of Amazon and other online retailers. And what this did is we could see here that from 2014 to 2018, we saw a steady growth in the domestic online revenues of Best Buy, which helped to put them in a great position. And even with the vast size of Amazon's retail empire, Best Buy still managed to remain number 2, slightly behind them. The next obstacle is leadership's ability to energize employees. Employees are the backbone of a company, and it's especially true when those employees are customer facing. When you walk into a Best Buy store, you need to be greeted with an employee who is knowledgeable and helpful. There's a few different ways to increase the leadership of a company and turn those leaders into ones who have the ability to energize their employees. One way is to hire outside talent. By reaching outside the talent pool that's already working for a company, you have the ability to bring in new ideas and new perspectives that aren't currently tainted by the company's old way of doing things. Employee empowerment is also important. Having employees who not only feel needed, but also feel like they have a vested interest in the success of the company leads to employees who also want to grow, and that leads us right into developing from within. Those employees then have the ability to see a clear career path through a company as opposed to just a job, and this is going to help retain key talent and keep them from going to competitors. This is embodied by Hubert Joly, the CEO of Best Buy, who currently has a 97% approval rating amongst his employees. And so for a leader to truly lead from the front, setting the example for how the business should be run, is a testament to his leadership ability and how that has helped to implement this turnaround strategy that has been so effective. The next obstacle are vendor relationships. Employees being the backbone, vendors are the lifeblood of a company. These strategic partnerships are important because it not only allows Best Buy to make sure that they have the best potential pricing when it comes to different products, they can get premier placement, also get exclusives that other companies maybe are not allowed to sell. In this case here, part of Best Buy's turnaround strategy was to do a strategic partnership with Amazon to sell to sell TVs that incorporate the Amazon Fire TV operating system. And the part of that strategic partnership also allows for any of those TVs that are sold through Amazon's website to count as a sale for Best Buy as well. Another aspect of vendor relationships can lead into acquisition. Now, acquisition is simply put one company being purchased by another company. Now, this could play out in a way to benefit Best Buy and their shareholders should a company, say like Amazon, decide that they want to expand that strategic partnership and actually grow it into an acquisition situation where they take on the full swath of Best Buy stores. The big benefit to this is that when a company is valued for acquisition, it's very important that that valuation properly encompasses the benefits and the potential that that company brings to the table. Best Buy currently sits at a trading discount when it comes to the stock pricing, which would mean that there would have to be some kind of accounting for that deficit based on profitability, in which case the shareholders would be the real winners when they saw the share price increase due to the acquisition. And then, of course, moving into societal impact. Now, societal impact is very important because many investors today are looking to invest with a conscience. According to Bank of America Private Bank, adding sustainable and impact investments to your portfolio allows for positive social and environmental changes while pursuing competitive financial returns. Now, simply put, any company that wants to remain not only relevant but also competitive in the investorscape cannot ignore the fact that their investors want to see a company that does well for the world. Best Buy is doing this in many ways, and when they looked at that turnaround strategy, they saw recycling efforts that needed to be put into place by both offering ways for customers to properly dispose of their old technology. It allows for a guilt-free shopping experience as customers are able to come into a store, purchase their new technology, have a solid place that they know is going to take the old technology and in some cases actually even pay them for that old technology and give them discounts off of the new technology that they're purchasing. Also, Best Buy is involved in technology access for communities. Access to technology is crucial for the youth of today and will increase in importance as time goes on. Best Buy partnering with both strategic vendors and communities gives them the ability to introduce technology to the next generation. That next generation then in turn has the ability to be better educated and better prepared, and will turn into the future consumers and potential shareholders of the company itself. The best thing to do is to break it up into multiple smaller problems, or in this case, smaller steps. Those smaller steps will bring with them smaller wins and just make those opportunities more attainable. One of these areas was looking at was growing revenue. Instead of focusing on the long-term growth goals as a whole, Best Buy broke it up into multiple years and took a look at the idea of just going after the small incremental gains in year-over-year performance. Best Buy also took a look at opening new locations and started to be able to show both their customers and shareholders that they were growing by moving into new markets that maybe they hadn't served as well in the past, or just never had a Best Buy location there. Each grand opening is going to be cause for a celebration and is a small win as they slowly expand their footprint. Also, of course, growing online sales. Again, as we looked at before, looking at the growth from 2014 to 2018, almost a doubling in online sales roughly. But by looking at each one of those years and not necessarily trying to take out Amazon all at once, but just offering great online capabilities with the ability to pick up in location and also ship wherever they need to with fast shipping and trackable shipping, allowed Best Buy to grow that online sales in a responsible way and better strategize for how to take on the next step and eventually work on replacing Amazon as the consumer electronics online sales leader. So to wrap everything up, it's very clear that the Best Buy turnaround was successful. In the beginning, Best Buy was looking at the potential for bankruptcy, and they were able to completely stave that off and grow into the number 2 consumer electronics retailer in the United States. And they did this through that Amazon partnership. Future partnerships with Amazon and other vendors going on into the future could potentially lead to things such as acquisition, which of course would mean great things for shareholder value. And of course, the continued growth as a leader for Best Buy. As we can see here, the each of the years, 2015 through 2018, Best Buy manages to, they don't manage to sell as much as Amazon, but they outsell all their competition and are a very close second to Amazon. And in many years, they did beat them up until most recently. This presentation. I hope you have a great day. Bye.